Once she broke out of her sleepy stupor within seconds. Foreign's first thought was the album. Their first album, which they had been working on for over a year, was finally out for the world to hear. It almost didn't feel real to Foreign. The girls had been so invested in planning for their album for so long that she had forgotten to get used to the process being the norm. Now it felt so shocking that it actually finally happened. Holy shit! The album's out! Dusk could be heard exclaiming in the other room. Foreign chuckled, feeling the same way, as she quickly slipped onto her black sweater and blue jeans. Morning, Foreign, Luna greeted. Good morning, Foreign smiled back, quickly heading towards the cupboard to get her normal morning cereal. Good morning, Dusk. Morning, Dusk responded. Opening the cupboards, Foreign took out the box of Cheerios and poured them into the bowl until it was about half full. Then she headed towards the refrigerator to get milk. A quick glance at the top shelf, where the milk usually had been stored, was a curious sight. There was none. Where's the milk? Foreign inquired. Oh, my mom was thirsty for some yesterday, Dusk informed. I gave her the last bit. So, there's no milk in the house? Foreign gasped. Nope, Dusk confirmed. You'll have to eat dry cereal this morning. I hate dry cereal, Foreign sighed. Well, tough shit, Dusk said in a teasy, sassy voice. I'll go to the store and get some milk, Foreign immediately decided. There's some pancake mix in the cupboard. I could go for some pancakes too, so I'll just make that, Luna offered. See? That's even better than cereal. Foreign stuttered, trying to think of a reason. What if I don't want any stinking pancakes? Luna, does Foreign seem to be acting a bit quirkier than usual? Dusk asked in a teasing voice. Wait a minute, I know what's going on. Luna smirked a bit once she understood Foreign's logic. She just wants to find a reason to go to the store so she can look at her album on display in the CD section. Isn't that right, Foreign? Well, I'm not gonna say that you're wrong, Foreign blushed. It's too early for this shit on our day off, Dusk sighed. Can't we just wait till the afternoon to drive from 20 minutes to Sam's Stream's record shop? Please, Dusk, Foreign whimpered, putting on a sad puppy dog face. Wait a minute, can't you go alone? Dusk challenged. Well, I could, but it would be more fun if we go as a band, though, Foreign counter-rage. Fine, Dusk sighed. We could all go together to get milk and look at our CD on the shelves. I think it'd be more fun. Luna gave her opinion. By the way, do you think you could make those pancakes before we leave? Foreign asked, unable to keep a smile forming on the face, rather from her teasing friend. Well, now we're gonna have to go to the store fast, because I'm gonna chase you there, Dusk snapped, as she playfully started running after Foreign. Then she grabbed the keys and headed out the door. All the girls climbed into the soccer mom van once they reached the parking lot. Who wants to drive? Foreign asked. Well, you're the one who pressured us to go, so it better be you, Dusk said firmly. Okay, I could take the hint. Foreign rolled her eyes. Luna climbed in the back seat this time, not squished up by any heavy instruments, much to her happiness. Dusk took the passenger seat, while Foreign hopped into the driver's seat and started the vehicle, and shifted the vehicle once everyone was snugly buckled into their respective seats. So I've been thinking, we just released our first album. What now? Luna asked, uncertainty. Well, release a second album? Foreign laughed, asking if the question was obvious. I don't think that's the way it works, Foreign, Luna said. Most artists don't jump out of albums every few months. They usually do stuff between them. Yeah, you know, touring, album promotion, stuff like that, Dusk added. What do you mean promoting the album? Haven't we already done that recording stuff for our radio bumpers? Luna asked. Just like it means, like filming music videos, having autograph signing events, maybe doing an interview, I think, Dusk said, at the end of her sentence during the question due to her uncertainty. Making merch, Luna added. Reading each of the songs to the school children in a dramatic form of way of importance poetry, Foreign offered, causing the other two to give strange looks. I was joking, right? Foreign smirked. I don't know what about what comes after the album releases than you two do. I don't think we're popular enough to be touring, so that's not gonna happen. We'll have to bring it up on our next meeting with Gus. Are you happy for it? We're here, Dusk playfully harassed as they arrived at the store. Yes, in fact, Foreign teased. The girls got out of their car and headed towards the store. The dairy section came before the CDs, so they went over to pick up a half gallon of milk. First day retrieving the milk, they headed over to the CD section of the store. All three girls felt a sense of accomplishment when they were seeing their CDs on the shelf. Wow, here it is, Foreign gasped. Excuse me, a woman said, apologizing as the girls quickly moved out of the way. The woman picked out a Farmer Jones album, titled Beautiful Cowgirls, Beautiful Beer, Beautiful Life. If we're going to be people watch for a moment, we should really do it in place so that they don't look obvious, Luna whispered. She does have a point. Our faces are on the cover, you know, Dusk reminded. Foreign was a little surprised that Dusk was open to the idea of people watching, but the black-haired goth was quite happy about it, even if it was just for a moment. She was curious if anyone would walk up to their album. Foreign pretended that she was looking for the magazines on the next aisle down, while Dusk and Luna looked at the books, while looking up every few moments to see if anyone had brought their album. Look, Dusk whispered, pointing at someone approaching the CD section. It was a girl older than them, looking like she was in her mid-20s. Sure enough, the girl looked at their CD and picked it up. Oh my gosh, Foreign whispered, hoping no one would hear them. I can't believe someone bought her album. Shh. Dusk pointed at the other girl approaching the CD section. This time, Foreign recognized the girl. It was the same brunette with braids that they had seen a few times at a concert at Haley's. She was the girl who had just looked up at the longest of them since while they were performing. She picked out a copy of Hexed, smiled and walked away. Hey, she's from Haley's, Luna recognized. Speaking of people we've seen, Foreign said, as yet another person approached the CD stand. This time it was an older gentleman who had asked them for a number of concerts when the album would be released. He was wearing a brown coat, and he was with his wife, who wore a purple coat. Martha, it's here, the older gentleman said, as he snatched a copy of Hex Girls from the album on the shelf. I'm going to be tapping my feet in the easy chair all day. That's very exciting, Jean, Martha smiled. Come on, Martha, let's go pop this CD player in the car and move to the groove while we cruise, Jean exclaimed. Foreign couldn't help but smile, even if it didn't end up being a lot of people. It was so nice and rewarding to see people enjoying their music so much. She knew their music would never have any sort of lasting legacy, but these people's happiness is just a moment that filled her up so much joy. It had been a relatively uneventful week since the day of the album's release. The girls went to work every morning as usual, met at Jack's every day at lunchtime, but the remainder of their days were very flexible. Oftentimes they would go back to their apartment, but sometimes they hung out at Jack's and just talked for a while after Dusk's shift. The conversation occasionally drifted into music-related topics, such as to promote their new album through merch and say what merch would look like. But it wasn't about writing music, it had been. Since the numbers hadn't come out yet, and they hadn't seen Gus, the girls didn't have any idea about what their album was selling, but they assumed it was the best case scenario since the sales would moderately be good. Foreign figured that liking a single song from an artist was a lot different than purchasing the entire album. It was easy just to enjoy a song at the radio, but buying the album required people to truly love the song enough that they want to hear 11 other songs by the same artistic style. It was Thursday afternoon once again, which meant it was time for their weekly meeting with Gus. Foreign really had no idea what to expect in the meeting. Pretty much everything they had talked about since their first meeting with Gus was always about things related to the album. She was sure that Gus had something to want to discuss, though. Foreign's knock on Gus's office door was quickly answered with a, "Come in." "Hey, Gus," Dusk greeted. "Hello, girls," Gus smiled. "I hope you have time this afternoon, because this is going to be a big meeting." "Oh, really?" Luna looked confused. "I would have thought it would be a small meeting." Knowing how motivated Gus is, he probably wants us to start thinking about the second album already, Dusk assumed. Not exactly, Gus corrected, looking quite anticipationary. Why don't you girls sit down around my computer? I have a chart I'd like to show you. Oh shit, did the album bomb? Dusk just looked anxious. Just sit down and let me explain before jumping into conclusions. This is gonna quite require a lot of explanation, Gus informed. Thorn started to feel antsy. What Gus was saying didn't sound like it was a good thing. If the album did well, why would it require an explanation? Nonetheless, Thorn still did as she instructed. She sat down next to Gus. Luna and Dusk quickly did the same, as Gus began explaining. This is today's radio pop chart, Gus said. I'd like you to locate yourselves on the chart. Thorn scanned the chart, looking around the number 20s to 30s era in the chart, where it had been near the prior week. She quickly realized the other girls must have done the same when Gus corrected them. I think you might want to look up a little bit up. Gus pointed up at the chart. Thorn's jaw almost dropped when she saw Hex Girl at number 12. It had been planned massively 8,026 times on the radio this week. Oh my god, Dusk gasped. How did we climb that so fast? We were just at 25 a week ago. Before I explain, I need to show you the other chart. Gus opened up another window on his computer. Thorn didn't understand what was happening. Was the explanation something about their song doing well? But the album hadn't connected with people. Here's the Billboard 200 chart, Gus said. Thorn, Dusk, and Luna scanned to the bottom of the chart, looking for Hex Girl. Again, you may want to look a little bit higher, or a lot higher. Gus struggled to hold back his smile. What the shit? Dusk gasped. Thorn quickly brought her gaze up to the top of the chart. Hex Girl was currently on number 3. How was that even possible? Luna shook her head in confusion. Your album sold 800,000 copies across the US past week, Gus said. Now I know this is going to be shocking to you, which is why I want to dedicate our whole meeting to processing your feelings about this, as well as you'd like to move forward. 800,000? Thorn shouted, almost a yell in her surprise. This isn't real. I must be dreaming, Luna replied in disbelief. I very much assure you girls it's not a dream, Gus chuckled. But it will be in a sense since you'll get to live out your dream of being a popular band. Now before we move forward, I'd like to know how each of you are feeling. I'm freaking excited, Dusk exclaimed with glee in her voice. I think I'm just shocked. I'm happy people love our music, but I'm just shocked, Thorn repeated herself. I'm on the same boat as Thorn, Luna agreed. Now I just have another thing I'd like to tell you before we process this through together more, Gus said. Are you open to hearing it, or would you like to process more first? I like to just think we just heard it, Thorn said, checking for Dusk and Luna's approval. A quick nod signaled Gus to keep talking. Since you've came overnight sensations like this, I think you should go on a tour, Gus said. It's your first tour, so it doesn't have to be any longer than a month or so. But the interest is clearly here now. How quick should we schedule it? Luna stuttered. It's really up to you girls. Announcing the tickets, booking venues wouldn't take more than a week. Then, where would you like to go? Gus questioned. We're spontaneous with the album and just got us a lot of success. So why not be spontaneous with this? How about in a couple weeks? Dusk suggested, seeming eager. That seems a little soon, Thorn cautioned. Maybe in a month or so. That's still spontaneous, but it's at least reasonable. That's fair, Dusk agreed. Next month? Luna gasped. That's so soon. I kind of like the idea, Thorn said. That would give us at least a month to promote our album, and then we would have a fresh start when we got back. I think that's a quite fine idea, Gus agreed. Another aspect of things we need to figure out is hiring a few professionals to help with special effects. If you, such as, want some sort of explosion like you had in the Autumn Fest with Hex Girl. However, my daughter Bridget and her friends Sam and Nia have a lot of theatrical experience from high school, so I'm sure they'll be more than willing to come along, and if you have me, I'd like to come along as well. Who's gonna fill in for you while we're gone? Dusk asked. Oh, ever since Ace retired, his nephew Mace Decade has been running this place. Short for Mason, of course. I'm sure he can spread out my duties I can't do while I'm gone amongst the other executives here. I could still bring paperwork along to answer any emails here, and that kind of drudgery, Gus assured. More importantly, who's gonna fill in for us while we're gone? Luna inquired. I think our dads will find it useful, but they've got along fine without us, and we don't need the money anymore either, Thorne answered. I think they will be fine without us for a month. I mean, we're never going to have to worry about money again, Dusk exclaimed. Who needs these crappy jobs? Jack does, Thorne reminded. He really likes you helping out, and arguably really needs help most of our 3 other jobs, so I think he'll be fine if we're gone for a month. But you shouldn't just ditch him like that. Yeah, I guess, Dusk shrugged. Now before I make any of these calls, I want to ask you all girls again on how you're doing. Gus expressed concern. Is there something you want to do? Yes, I think so, Thorne nodded confidently. I mean, it's definitely going to be weird traveling for a whole month, but I think it'd be exciting sharing our music around the country, and maybe visit a different city every night. Oh, absolutely, Dusk nodded. That'd be stupid not to. Yeah, it should be fun, Luna nodded, in an awkward way. Luna, are you sure that's how you feel? Gus challenged, not fully believing in Luna's facade. Letting out a sigh, Luna's tone changed. No, I'm sorry. I'm just feeling nervous. I like writing songs and sharing them with the world, but getting up on stage every night is a whole different thing. I can be kind of shy sometimes, and it's kind of nerve-wracking. That's completely understandable, Gus acknowledged. None of your reactions are wrong, and in fact, they are representative of the many different ways I have seen people react to realizing their song or album has suddenly became popular. It's completely normal to be a bit nervous at first. Is it? Luna asked in surprise. Oh, maybe I'll just get used to them then. I'm sure you will, Gus smiled. Now, if there's anything else you need to process, I'll start making those calls for venues right away, and talk to Bridget, Nia, and Sam about joining you on the tour. I am so proud of you girls for all the hard work you've put into creating your first album. And I'm even more proud that your music has come so huge that's soaring up on the pop radio chart on the album chart. Thank you, Gus. We literally couldn't have done it with this without you, Thorne appreciated, as she got up from her chair and put on her coat. Yeah, you've been so incredible, Dusk said while Wissa doing the same. You're very welcome, girls. I can't wait to study the next part of your artistic journey with you, Gus smiled, with a hopeful look in his eye. As the girls walked out of Gus's office and into their car, all of them were speechless. None of them could have believed what was happening. Holy shit, Dusk swore. So what do we do now? Luna stuttered, lost for words. I think we need to go home and tell our parents. We could stop at Jack's on the way home and you could tell them, Thorne suggested. We don't even know the date we're leaving yet, Luna pointed out. Well, we know it's going to be about a month, Thorne answered, and it's better to let them know right away so we can make other plans if needed for someone to fill in for Dusk, if he needs it. Yeah, Dusk shrugged. I guess you're right. Dusk seemed quite apathetic in her response. Thorne could tell just her mind was certainly not at work, but the black-haired goth didn't really blame her. All Thorne could do was think about the fact that in a month, she'd be traveling the country so the girls could share their music with a bigger audience than they ever imagined. Luna and Thorne had been sitting outside in the soccer mom van for at least 5 minutes, while Dusk talked to Jack. I'm just feeling nervous about this whole thing, Luna admitted. I'm not in a good at public speaking, so what does that have to be like being up in front of thousands of people every single night? Sorry you're feeling nervous, Thorne said to Luna. If it helps, Dusk and I are happy to do most of the talking. All you gotta do is play the keyboard, if that's all you can handle. We're all in this together. And make sure you never feel any pressure to do while you're uncomfortable with. Oh, thanks. I really appreciate it, Luna said. At that moment, Dusk came out from the restaurant as Jack stepped outside with her. It apparently that they were just finishing their conversation. I'm really happy for you, Dusk, but I'm sorry to see you go. Jack's tone seemed sad. It's really nice having you help out around here. Thorne found it very sweet that Jack was going to miss her for just a month. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't help out, Dusk said. That wasn't very much sympathy present in her voice that Thorn would have expected. Clearly time for me to focus on my music now, with all this sudden interest. Have a great day. All right, see you later, Dusk, Jack said somberly as he headed back in the restaurant. Dusk quickly hopped back in the back seat of the car. Oh, that was so much sweet of how much Jack is going to miss you for having around for a month. Thorn put her hand on her heart. Oh no, it's not just a month. I told Jack I was quitting for good, Dusk clarified. What? Thorn shouted. Why would you do that? Well, if the world likes our music so much, we clearly need to dedicate ourselves completely to that, Dusk rationalized. No, we don't, Dusk. Thorn's tone quickly went from surprised to disappointed. Yeah, not all the expenses helping out our friends, Luna agreed. Why are you being so judgy? It's not like I'm telling you two to quit. You could do whatever you want, and so can I, Dusk defended definitely. Because you made a stupid decision, Dusk, Thorn sighed. We just found out about our tour 20 minutes down, and you're already acting like you're Elvis or something. We don't know if this success is going to last long. Maybe we just got lucky with this album. And now you let Jack down because you didn't want this job to interfere with your music career? Well, how am I supposed to wait months before to make this decision just to keep Jack on standby? Dusk snapped. No one is saying that. You could have just fought it for a few days or something, and maybe talk it over with us, and being such a rational decision, Thorn reasoned. So you're just saying you're mad at me now? Dusk cussed. No one's mad at you, Luna defended Thorn. We're just saying that the decision was a little quick. You should have just thought about it a little longer before making a snap decision based on fear. I'm not scared of anything, Dusk hissed. I'm just excited we got our music career, and I don't need that damn job anymore. Ugh, I hate it when she gets defiant like this, Luna sighed. Yeah, me too, Thorn replied. Don't be that person who only cares about themselves like your parents. You take that back, bitch, Dusk screamed. If you two don't like my decisions, then just don't talk about it, alright? That's just fine with me, Luna angrily agreed. With that, the girls sat in silence in the car. Thorn was quite excited about this, but she hoped Dusk's sudden decision didn't mean any fame had gone to her head.